Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Let's just dig right into it. Saul Canelo Alvarez is the boogeyman. And let's just break it down. We start with Mike Coppinger stating that Billy Joe Saunders and Callum Smith each received offers and each rejected the offers to face Canelo Alvarez on May 2nd. Let's be honest and unbiased, Both of these guys are young, in their prime, undefeated, and world champions. A lot of people always complain and say, well, Canelo needs to fight a young fighter. He needs to fight a world champion. He needs to fight someone undefeated. He needs to fight someone in their prime. These guys literally check every single box. And not only would this be a career high payday for both of these gentlemen, this would also be a legacy defining fight. So it would be world title fight, legacy defining fight, career high payday. And yet these guys rejected the Canelo Alvarez fight. These guys aren't major superstars. That's why Canelo Alvarez is the boogeyman. Then you look at a guy like Jamaal Charles. He turned down a fight with Canelo Alvarez. Jamaal Charles is doing 275,000 views on Showtime. He's not even getting 1 million views. He's not getting 500,000 views on basically free TV. That's disgusting. And this guy, Jamaal Charles, is undefeated. He's a world champion. And he passed up a career high payday against a legacy defining opponent, against an opponent that he's been calling for relentlessly, against an opponent that everybody said, was ducking him, and he had the grand opportunity and he passed it up. This is a guy that's not even making millions of dollars, and yet he passed up this opportunity with Canelo Alvarez. Career high payday, legacy defining fight. This is why Canelo Alvarez is the boogeyman of two divisions. And then you see, Mike Coppinger stated, and before we get into his next statement, you see a lot of fanboys saying, oh, well, if these guys rejected the fight, it must have been due to a rehydration clause. And Mike Coppinger stated that a rehydration clause hasn't even been in discussion. And so they haven't even been included in the offers that were made to Callum Smith, to Billy Joe Saunders, and to Jamaal Charles. It hasn't even been included. You have to understand, a rehydration clause is not even a bad clause. It basically makes sure that you're fighting the guy that's saying they're in the division and they're not rehydrating up 2 divisions higher than what they fight in. You got to be honest and unbiased. These guys simply don't want to find Canelo Alvarez. They don't want to fight him. And these fanboys make up any excuse. So first it was the rehydration clause, but then that was debunked. And then fanboys go on about it. Hey, it's unfair. These guys are being lowballed. They're getting bad deals. Canelo's trying to force these guys into terrible deals. And Mike Coppinger, responded to these such allegations. And he stated, and Mike Coppinger is a guy who has inside reporting and sources with Golden Boy, Eddie Hearn, and DAZN. And Mike Coppinger states this in regards to Canelo Alvarez and anything being unfair. He said he did not report about anything being unfair. Fighters want a lot of money to fight Canelo because he's the biggest star in the sport. So negotiations can't even be tricky. Come on. Opponents command top dollar to fight Floyd and Oscar before him. So you got to look at it. Opponents have commanded ridiculous sums to fight Oscar, ridiculous sums to fight Floyd, and now they're asking the same of Canelo. You got to be honest and unbiased. This guy is the boogeyman of the division. He's the face of boxing. He's a career high payday, and he's the best pound for pound fighter in the business. And these guys don't want to take that challenge. Let's just break it down honestly. Canelo Alvarez is the boogeyman for a lot of reasons. And one reason is, you look at it like this. I've never known Canelo Alvarez to turn down a challenge. Win, lose, or draw. He fought Floyd Mayweather. He fought a prime Erislandy Lara. Those were very difficult fights. He fought an Austin Trout, who's a very difficult opponent when Canelo Alvarez fought him. He fought a Gennady Golovkin twice that people said he would never dare or dream of fighting Gennady Golovkin. He's taking on countless challenge after challenge after challenge. He moves up 2 weight classes and knocks out the Crusher. So at the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez is taking on these enormous challenges. He fights Danny Jacobs Jacobs, and beats him clearly, convincingly. And this is a Danny Jacobs who's pretty much better than everyone in the welterweight division. He made Jamaal Charles turn the other way. He arguably beat Triple G, and got robbed of the victory. So he's beaten Triple G and Danny Jacobs, the two biggest names in the middleweight division. At the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez is the boogeyman. A lot of people always turn around and say, Canelo Alvarez, he's ducking this guy, he's ducking that guy, but he's the one that's sending offers. He's the one that's trying to make fights. He's the one trying to get it done. And the interesting thing about this is, if Canelo Alvarez was ever to turn down any offer, he would absolutely be labeled a ducker. And yet he hasn't. But then you turn the tables and you see that Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, and Jamaal Charles has all turned down a fight with him. And yet these guys were being labeled as lowballed offers. Canelo Alvarez has to be doing something wrong. That's just absolute hate, speculation, and fanboy nonsense. Because even Mike Coppinger came out and debunked that none of this is based on facts. None of these guys want to be great simply because they're facing the boogeyman of the division, even though he's the cash cow and the face of boxing. Let's be honest and unbiased.